we'll start the work session for July 7th, 2022. I'm going to ask Alderman Small to say an opening prayer, and then we'll get into our agenda.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for our lying down last night and being able to get up this morning to come into this meeting. We ask, Lord, that you go before us and in front of us to help us make the best decisions that we can. We ask, Lord, that you be with our workers today all over the city as they go about their jobs and keep them safe and protect them. And Lord, we ask that you bless this food for the nourishment of our body for those that partake. And it is in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. First item we have is a review of the 6/9/22 minutes, work session minutes. Anybody have any changes or additions, deletions? If not, we'll enter those into record. We don't have any reports. We'll go to department reports. We'll start with Mr. Eddie Plunkett with Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. The ordinance you have before you there is one we brought up last month, and y'all wanted us to notify the citizens, and I think Mr. Owens is taking care of getting everyone notified.
Did you have many questions, Mr. Owens, from any residents out there?
We have not.
Okay.
And we did notify. That was the main thing. Okay, that's
Thank you.
just the main thing I wanted that they understood and wasn't caught by surprise later on. So we talked about this last month. That area is a real tight spot of people's park on both sides, and our larger trucks, especially fire trucks, can't get through there. Isn't that right, Chief Kimbrough?
Yes.
So is everybody good with taking this to Tuesday?
Okay.
Okay. Next, you have an annual agreement for concrete and minor bridge work for FY23.
Yeah, sure. We put out for bids all of our concrete work, bridge work, anything less than 20 foot wide we can do without state plans, engineering. It's still built by state plans. We just leave the engineering fees out. It saves us a whole lot of money. Kerbers was our only bidder. They was our bidder last year. And we'd like to sign that contract with them if possible. They have been notified to furnish us their liability insurance. It wasn't included with this.
And that's pretty standard. That normally doesn't take much effort.
Yeah, he said it may take him a day or two to get the insurance company to send it, but it wouldn't be no problem. He just forgot to include it with his bid.
Well, we've used them before. I think they've been a good vendor for us. So is everybody good with just going Tuesday night?
They're the ones that done Adam Street, and they're open back up. Adam Street's open. We had a little rock work we had to do down there. They was working on that yesterday, and I think they may have gotten done with it. So.
And as the Vice Mayor mentioned in Finance the other day, we did extra effort on that to reinforce it, hoping that when we have flooding events and the water's coming through that pick that asphalt up, hopefully that won't happen again.
And our total price was right around $94,000 on that project.
Which I think we budgeted up, I think we approved up to 99, about 99, so it came a little bit less.
Yeah, I mentioned 75 the other day, but that was just labor. That didn't include the material.
That was just Kerber's fee. We buy that concrete on those projects. Saves us a little more money, and I forgot to include the concrete price in the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, but anyway, it still came in, that's good. All right, we'll take that forward. And you have 200 North Main Avenue Drainage Project update to include cost estimate.
We have a drainage issue up there where the water's coming off the street, getting into a building. Croy's been working on this for a good while. They finally got us a cost estimate on this. It was $84,238, and this is just an estimate. Hopefully, if it's like the last one, it'll be done cheaper.
Which building to get into?
It used to be the old cleaners building, Ray Gardner's old.
Oh, the 5-star?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
That's where the request originally come from.
Okay. Okay.
We need also, our committee recommended that, and I believe this is a part of the bond issue, but we only had like $15,000 in there to begin with, and that was to do the engineering fees and all such as that. So we would need to if we want to fund the whole thing out of the bond issue, that would need to be in the motion. Tuesday night.
Kevin, we okay to do that?
We're looking at it, and I do want to examine it a little bit further, considering we have a couple other bids that are capital bids that are coming into place. Before I recommend that we do that, I want to somewhat see how those bids are going to come in, and they're coming in within the next couple of weeks, and that's particular to William D. Jones. So I wanted to see that before I made any recommendations on any others.
Well, if we do this Tuesday night, well, we need to, is there other options, just taking it out of the general fund? And it depends on what capital's at right now,
Right.
so. Well, if you just have an answer for us by Tuesday, that's the main thing,
I
but,
wasn't for you entry by the end of the day, but
okay,
I do want to look at it.
okay. But we're okay with taking this forward to Tuesday?
I do have one question. So the 84,000, this does not include the 15,000 engineering fee, is that correct? It's not included.
I don't believe it is.
I don't see it in there no more.
Okay.
When I was at 15, we probably approved that earlier though, I'm sure.
It was in the bond issue,
Yeah.
right,
So-
ma'am? Yeah, well, it was in the bond issue. We approved that through the bond issue to do the study. That was for the study and engineering and all. What's not been decided is to, if we do this project, is to, this part of it, what the fund is part of it.
So basically what we're really voting on Tuesday is to go bid. Because we're not sure what the bid will come in at. So if we sat there and, it's hard to put a dollar amount on Tuesday night.
Yeah, we're just voting on,
You can just give me permission to advertise and bid it
go to
out.
bid.
And then hopefully within the next 2 months, have your bid in here.
And then we can approve it officially.
And you approve the total number.
That'll give Kevin plenty of time to do his study and all. And then we can make that decision when the bid comes in. We don't have to take the bid, if we decide not to, so.
And I am good with us going forward with the bid process.
Okay.
Basically, all we have in the bid process is the advertisement fees.
Right. That's small. Okay. Any other questions on this? Next time we had Dunroman Drainage Project update that you came to finance with, and at the moment you have an estimate from Croy. It would have to be bid too, but this is it.
This will be the same situation. We would need to put it out for bid, and then we'll bring it back for your approval. He did give us a cost estimate of $47,000.
So it's been a little while. If you don't mind giving the board an update on exactly what this is doing up there on Dunroman. There's a property owner that cannot get to a storage unit he has.
Well, this is not addressing that one.
Okay, this is different from that one?
Yes, sir. Same
Okay.
property owner, it's just he's got an issue with water running off the road.
Oh, that's right, because we fixed the other side, didn't we?
We haven't done anything on it.
Okay,
But this would fix the drainage issue.
This is all we could, it came through a Public Works Committee, and without getting on private property and doing a lot of things some things that individual wanted us to do, we didn't feel like we could get on private property, and the city attorney spoke of that. But this is strictly on the road itself.
It's on the right of way, yes,
It's on the
sir.
right of way. So this is something we could do legally. The other request, we didn't feel like we could.
okay. So it's another situation about basically us approving on the bid.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the board on this one?
I just want to make a statement. I think this property owner has been very patient. He's come before this board several times. I'm not on the Public Works Committee, but he has come before this board in different areas and has asked for help, and there really is a drainage problem there, so I feel like the city does need to help this not individual, but help the problem, which would in turn help the individual. But, he's been very patient with the city, I feel like.
That's already been determined. as well. So this project was already underway. It's the other one that he has issue with, that's on his private property that Mr. Hill has been involved with. So, yeah, we were looking at that in that manner since it's coming off the right-of-way in city property, so, yeah.
But he's been very patient, and he has
Absolutely.
been here several times.
Okay. All right, we'll take this, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, basically what we told us, he's a very nice individual, very nice. And we kind of did something out there that might have caused him some problems. But basically what the committee told him was that how we felt was that we had to rely on the city attorney opinion on what we could do on his property. That's what we did. That's why I never got any further than that with public works, because when the city attorney pretty well determines that, you know, you really just can't do a certain thing on private property or whatever, no need to go any further with it. So, but we are trying to, you're right, we're trying to help him all we can with this drainage issue. And the other people that lives in that area out there too.
Gotcha. All right, we'll carry this forward to Tuesday. Can you give us an update on the North Street project? I know they've been over here on that Franklin over there, right there by the post office for a
Yes,
while.
They have all the pipe in the ground. They're working on catch basins, curbing, and sidewalks. Yesterday, I noticed they was digging up to put the base down for the asphalt work, starting here at the post office, going north. So hopefully within the next few weeks, that project will be getting close to being wound down.
So when they're complete with that area, do they have to go any further up?
No.
Franklin, okay,
It stops at Washington Street.
okay,
Goes
okay.
from Washington down to the post office, and then goes down Edison and went all the way down, and it works. They left some high-priced equipment in it, and it come with rain, and luckily it hung up in a tree down there in the creek. They got their equipment out.
Right.
You know,
Plus, they got a couple other little spots over there as you're rounding the curve on College where they've got the storm drains in, but they've got they had some concrete in there to prevent when they were paving so that asphalt wouldn't run in. But they've got to go back. I mean, you can clearly say they've got it marked up. Plus, you've also been repairing some sidewalks around town too, I've noticed.
Yes, sir. A little bit everywhere. Don't know what happened over on Lee Avenue.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, where those two tiles popped up.
All we figure is water got under, and the pressure of the water raised, bumped it up.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, you
For
repaired that
some
pretty
reason,
quickly.
It come up out of the ground.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't leave Franklin.
What is on? Well, over by where I'm at on Lee, there's a couple of tiles on the sidewalk just popped up like this.
Oh, okay.
There for all those new houses,
Yeah, the Hyde homes.
Yeah.
it raised up about 6 inches, just right in the joint.
That's right. Any other questions of Mr. Plunkett this morning? Thank you, sir. We'll go police. Chief Casillas.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have 3 event permits to pass on to you. First one's going to be cruising. It's the 8th annual. Nothing's going to be changed on. It's going to be the same as last year, year before. We have a new one. It's called the Blue Valley. And they're requested to have a food truck, live band, and also sale of beer. That's going to be up to the beer board to approve that part. But their sale of beer is going to be inside of one of their bays, inside that garage. And that's going to be at Lewisburg Highway and Skyview. So it's in that corner right there. So
How noisy is that gonna get?
I don't know. But from what I understand, all the speakers will be facing your house.
I'm all for it. Whatever it is, you know, if they need to park in my driveway, that'd be fine. Come on up there, park.
They said they got approval from Bill's Liquor Store to use their parking lot
Right.
as well. So they'll have plenty of room. And I looked into your question about the beer and sales. They're going to be doing it inside one of their bays. So before it was a concern because to me that location was so small. But when they told me they got permission from Bill, so that'll give them plenty of room. And it'll be, I think it'll be well.
They're good neighbors. Blue Valley's good neighbors.
Okay. But that's another one. Then we have a Recovery Fest. It's going to be August 27th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's where people that accomplish their recovery goals. And then for, if there's somebody that's there so they can, if they need assistance, they can will help them. So That's all I have for this.
I had a quick question going back to the first one, the cruise in. This may be a question because I know Christie's on the committee. So you're going to close the interior of the square.
Yes.
And you have it from 12 to 8. Now, is there going to be activities at 12 noon? Or is there going to be a period before it sets up?
It's just for preparation and to start getting the food trucks in and everything.
Okay, I just know sometimes some merchants on that side like to have that parking for the restaurants, you know, to a certain time. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to have a gap in time to where they could have been parking if we weren't going to be setting up or anything. So, okay. Everybody good taking these forward? Any Mr. questions, Mr. Casillas? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We go to the fire department, Chief Kimbrough.
Morning.
Morning.
The only thing I've got is I just want to thank Eddie and his guys for getting our signs up at the river. They got the use caution swim to unrisk signs up at the river.
good,
at
great.
the entrance and stuff, so they
Great.
got that up. Really appreciate that. Update on Engine 2. Talked to them yesterday. We're hoping to maybe go pick it up today or tomorrow. They were just washing it, cleaning it up, just tidying up a few little loose ends and on it right now, and they were hoping to turn it loose today. So we were hoping to go get it pretty quick. And other than that, unless y'all have questions for me, I don't have nothing else.
That area down in, before we talk about down in the river where a lot of people go down there, the city owns that area, though. I mean, we own that down in there, though. The city owns that.
As far as I know, yes, sir.
Is it?
That's
Is that ours? We swapped the county?
Right,
Right.
we acquired full ownership of
Right.
that. Now, when we were looking at this a month or so back,
Right.
the actual road that you take from the bypass to get to
Yeah.
it is on the Dennis property.
Right. It's not on city property.
Crossing the Dennis property to get to city property.
So they got to cross private property to get down in there.
Right.
There's a portion of about, what, 20, 25 feet there, Eddie? You know? That's actually Dennis's property right there.
Yeah. So we keep bush hog down in there. Ed, is that your group do that? Keep that cut off down in there. How much of that acres do we have it down there? Does it go all the way?
We go away, basically behind Tennessee on the one.
Okay.
There's a big field back there.
Yeah. All right.
Tony, you did make a mention in the committee meeting that these signs, we will eventually have signs also in Spanish.
We are going to try to get them in Spanish too and just mount them right up under the signs that are up there now. That's what I assume that's still the plan for that.
If that's what y'all want.
I do. Because
Yeah, I think
some of
we
the,
still need, we're going to try to mount them right up under the English.
That's good.
So, yeah.
unfortunately, some of the drownings we've had recently are migrants, immigrants. Yeah.
Is there some kind of regulation that you can't shut off access to a river?
That would come back, I believe, to
I'm not
TVA.
trying to shut it off. I'm just asking.
Right, it's considered a public waterway, so
Right.
that would come back to TVA or TWRA
Yeah.
as far as that, but I'm not aware that you can just close it off because of it being a public waterway.
Well, I'm not trying to, I just wondered about that.
Right.
I'm not advocating that at all. But
Correct.
I think you can, because you can keep them from using your property. They
really,
can still float the river.
Right.
But they can't trespass on the.
It's still considered like private property for like homeowners and, you know, stuff up down the river, but
if you had to go across it to get to the river.
right.
Well, they would go over to where the old CVS is and climb down that way. I mean,
Right.
they get to it
They
somehow.
get to it somehow.
I
Yeah.
also noticed, this doesn't have anything to do with that probably. It looks like to me that state walkway across, along with the bridge across the river's been closed off again.
It has, I think a board broke, or a couple boards broke, and the state.
It's beautiful shape.
Yeah,
I see that thing needs to be rebuilt.
They took down or something.
Okay, Jesse said they were repairing some boards yesterday.
Right,
on that.
okay.
And that's a state issue.
That's
It is
a
state
state issue.
That's a state issue, but if you walk it, I watched about half, I mean, every other board was doing this, and then there was a part where a pretty good chunk was missing, and most pedestrians don't even use it, they'll just walk on the road,
Well,
which
that's
is the
what makes it
dangerous
dangerous.
part, yeah.
Walking on that road is what's the dangerous part.
There's no shoulder there to walk on right there.
Yeah, especially at night. So,
That's encouraging that they're out there working
Right,
on it.
that's what he said, that they were out there yesterday working on it, but like I said, it's been closed off for at least a couple, 3 weeks.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering, when we get the bridge, if we get the bridge built, Wall Bridge, Count Blunt, Just wondering if anybody use that, try to get up the businesses on the highway. They have to walk across that field. I don't know whether they would or not, but
Probably a little bit better, safer.
it'd be a whole lot better.
Right,
At least it'd be walkable.
right.
Any other questions, Mr. Kimbrough?
The changes on the burn permits.
Oh, yes, we did get the permit books in for that. I'm assuming anybody calls and wants a yearly permit, just call us and we'll come out and check it out. I wrote one yesterday over on Lowell Drive. So just, like I said, anybody that has one, needs one, just give us a call.
Do you have had any complaints about the policy?
No, hadn't heard nothing from it yet.
Well, was this like a rain? I mean, what's the state's about burning right now anyway?
Right now, there's not a burn ban. They did put a burn ban west of 65, but it did not cross over on the east side of 65 as of yet. But we have gotten a little bit of rain throughout the county in different places. I know parts of the city's got some, parts of it hadn't. So that's helped out a lot. So it's kind of getting a little bit better maybe, but we'll see. Maybe I think they're calling for some rain today.
Yeah.
So I've got this rock thing out in my backyard. It's a rock pit like you. So I'm supposed to get a permit to use that, right?
Just call us up. We'll come write you one.
Well, all the grandkids done got grown now. They don't use it no more, really.
I understand.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Brian Carter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pool slide update. Our pool slide has been down for a couple of days now.
And just explain real quick what happened.
Peeling. We had a paint job that was done on it in February, and the paint peeled. They came in, fixed it, repaired it. A couple of days later, same thing happened. So they are en route to come back and fix it. Hopefully this time the paint will adhere to the slide, so we can get that problem solved.
So if it doesn't, the alternative is a new slide, right?
Well, we're under warranty for like the next 5 years, but
On that product?
on that product.
Okay, that's good.
So,
Quite a bit
but
of
that
paint.
is
Used quite a bit to paint it, so good.
right, but that was my thinking also. Update on Lee parking lot. We're still waiting for an answer from the owner. I'd spoken with Mr. Ellis on last Thursday. Still hadn't gotten a response from the owner. Donnie Shelton Memorial update. It is complete. We have got the plaque inserted, and we're good with that. Stone Bridge Park lighting update. Chuck Barnes with Barnes Electric, we're getting a quote on that, so hopefully he's already been out there to look at it. We're just waiting on the estimate to come in for that. Fireworks display. I'd like to thank everyone involved in getting that off. It was a success.
It was very successful.
All the departments downtown, every last one of you guys and everyone else that helped out. And in the process, in October will be the time that we can go in and request for next year. So that's what we're looking at right now. We had some damage done to the bathroom at S.J. King Park, and that was on June the 22nd.
And a car ran into it.
Car ran into the back of it and actually knocked one of the balls in. So we're waiting for the adjusters to come in and take a look at that so we can get that taken care of. And I'd like to thank Mr. Plunkett and the Department of Streets for coming in and removing all the poles at Don Davidson Park.
The old poles.
All the old poles, they are gone, and I'd really like to thank Eddie for getting that done for us
And they did that before the fireworks show.
before the fireworks display.
Absolutely. While we have parks, Mr. Owens, you give the board an update on the discussions going forward with the electrical and talking about get the contract signed and
Yes, sir.
progress.
I would gladly. Since the board did approve us moving ahead with the bid by Brentley, I have had a chance to meet with the consultant. We did a teleconference call earlier this week, I believe on Tuesday. So the final documents have been sent to the winning bidder that should be returned to us probably by the first of next week. So we will be able to execute the contract and be able to move ahead. So everything is going as to plan right now, so we hope that it will continue.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Carter? Thank you. Thank you. Go to Planning and Codes, Ms. Christy Gentry.
Good morning.
Morning.
Will you give a full department update on Tuesday evening, but I wanted to take this time to give some updates on the 8th annual cruise-in. The date is September the 10th. Registration will be that day from 2 to 4. The main event is from 4 to 7. Black Rose Nation is our band that will be playing from 4 to 7. They play classic rock from the 70s to today. Our dash plaques and posters are ordered, should be here within the next week. We will be ordering the shirts and koozies by the end of this week. We should be opening up the car registration within the next week. Food vendor registration is already open. We did a social media blast. I took applications around to all the First Friday vendors and gave them out. And then I also sent out about 20 emails to vendors who had previously come to Cruise In and had come to Host and Slawburger and other events. We do already have 2 food trucks committed and have paid. I do have verbal commitment from 4 other ones. And then we will also be posting all event information on all of the city social media pages, and we will have the applications on the website as well. So I believe that we are really in good shape. We're going to be also working with Mr. Owens and the committee on sponsorships. We have a couple of companies that's reached out to us that wants to do something, and so we're going to hopefully be able to utilize them as well.
Any questions of Ms. Gentry?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to IT, Mr. Zach.
Morning.
Morning.
Just a few things. Spectrum, they're expecting to have installation start tomorrow. I'm planning to meet with an installer. I don't have a time, but I'm planning to meet with them tomorrow to coordinate starting TV installs. The speakers in here, we replaced those, all 4 of them. Some some JBL replacement speakers put in. And other than that, I finished my Network Plus certification and about to start on Security Plus.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Zach? Everything going well with the Spectrum part?
As far as I know, they gave me a day, they can give me a time, but I'm expecting to meet with them sometime tomorrow to coordinate those getting done.
All right, good deal.
Thank you.
We'll go to Finance, Mr. Owens.
Good morning. The first item I guess we are going to do is we have an invoice, and this is the pass-through for the Fayetteville City Schools, and it's for $19,399. So that's the first item of presentation. The other part of the report is on our local option sale tax. We did receive in the month of June $307,266.19. And we do want to report that we have already exceeded the year with 1 month to go. So that is item number 1.
Can I ask a question on
Yes,
that?
sir.
Could I ask a question?
Please.
So this 307,266 is from May or June?
According to my report, it's June.
How could we have
I
a
think
month
it should
to
be
go
May.
then? This is May. That's from May.
And this may be a typo.
I think it's a typo.
Our former director presented.
Yeah, I think it's a typo.
You're normally a couple months behind, so
Yeah,
it should
we're
be
a couple months
May.
behind. We got a month to go. The month of June is what we got to go, so
Yeah,
that
should be May.
May.
Please correct that, and I'm absolutely sure you're correct.
Okay.
Okay, so that was item number 1, and that will be in correction. The month of May will be $307,266.19. And she did indicate in the bottom of the report, we do have 1 more month to go, so that we'll complete the fiscal year. Also, as far as the 23 budget was approved by the board in June 22, and it has been submitted to the controller for approval. Once approved, the board will receive an official letter. The year-end process has begun. The finance team is working to ensure everything is completed and booked by the close of August 31st, which is the deadline date. Preliminary work on the 22 audit has begun. Members of the audit team is already in the office, and you may see them throughout the building. And they will be periodically gathering and testing information on payroll, cash disbursements, and cash receipts and grants. And with that, that concludes the finance report for the month of July 22.
So, on the D. Brodus and Associates, that came in yesterday. So they didn't have time to go through finance. So the board can decide we can go ahead and approve it this month, or we can wait till next month. But I just said I mean, it's a pass through.
Just standard thing,
Yeah.
happens every month. I don't
Yeah.
have, they didn't have a school board meeting, so I've not seen this.
They moved that, because of the 4th, they moved it to next Monday,
The
so
school board meeting's next,
the 11th. So I'm sure they'll approve it on the 11th.
doesn't really matter who approves it first. It doesn't make any difference, whatever the board wants to do.
Everybody okay going forward?
I'm all right.
Okay. Go to administration, Mr. Owens.
Good morning again. You should have received my report, but in addition to information given within the report, wanted to let the board know that there are 3 active personnel recruitments that we're currently going through, and hopefully make some real headway in the month of July within all 3, as well as we currently is in the midst of the William D. Jones bid, which should conclude on July 19th. And that is my report, unless there's any other
Any questions, Mr. Owens?
So July 19th is when it will be let out for bid.
No, it's
Well, no, it
over.
should conclude that bid opening date.
Okay.
It's currently,
Okay. Well, I'll stay confused on that one.
it has had a couple changes.
Any other questions of Mr. Owens? We'll go to other. About a month ago, the county, Mr. Newman's office called me and let me know that we had 2 board members on the library board that were appointed by the Buffalo Regional Planning Board, Commission, whatever they called it, and that disbanded. And there was a county appointee and a city appointee, and the request by the library board, correct me if I'm wrong, Alderman Hartman, was for those members to stay on the board, be appointed by the county and the city. So the county last month appointed the county, and so the city is a Rachel, this is Muzzarelli?
Muzzarelli.
Okay, and so is recommended by the library board to appoint her, be a 3-year term like the rest. And so I said, I notified the board about 2 or 3 weeks ago about this. So if it's okay with the board, we'll take this to Tuesday to approve.
Well, I'm sure it probably is okay. And so Buffalo River shut down, right?
Yes.
Is all of the regional shut down on libraries across the
We
state?
still have a regional director, Miss Osborne. She comes in, but this is a smaller group within the region, so that has shut down. But Rachel is a local daycare owner here. She's very involved in the library board. She is very involved with children, and she has truly been an asset to the board. Well, actually, both of the ladies have been an asset.
Do you know how
to
the bylaws read on? Do you know how the bylaws read on board appointments? I don't remember. I was on that board. The way it used to be, I mean, what I remember is just so many from the city, so many from the county, and then the regional had one from the city and one from the county, but it might have been specified in the bylaws that those was regional appointments. Are we sure that it's okay to transfer that over to?
Yeah, I think that was checked out. I asked that question.
That's been checked?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My understanding is that they still had the allocation for 2 appointments.
Okay.
And that
As long as the
that
bylaws allows it.
Yeah, my understanding that was reviewed and checked out.
Okay.
So, and my understanding, the library board's doing very well. Since, we had a while back, we had the 3 county appointments step off, but then I understood that the 3 replacements have done great. And of course, we know the new director's done great down there, so.
Well, I tell you, I was on that board long enough to know the funds. Of course, they're getting a lot more funds than they used to get from city and county, but what they are doing with the amount of funds they get is really, really good.
Yeah.
They're being very careful. They've got to be very, I don't think they've got over 5 or 6 employees over there, and all of them but one's part-time. I've never really known how they
I mean, are they
do
doing
great.
well?
Yes, they are. We have one full-time, it's the director, and 5 part-time. So they keep everything maintained and up to date. They're hardworking people. They have all sorts of programs this summer. I mean, Megan, reported to the board last month, and it's just phenomenal how many people are coming through the doors of the library.
They do a lot of fundraisers, don't they? Quite a few. I mean, small ones plus a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they probably won't do that big one no more because did that library ever get paid off?
It is paid in full.
It got paid
Yes,
off?
sir. The Friends of the Library, and the city and the county
Right.
went together and with the fundraising paid that library in full. And Friends of the Library are taking a little break
Right.
now that the building is paid off, but we will pick back up with fundraising for anything in the future that the library might need. So.
That's good.
And the director is also very conscientious of, and Brian can attest to this, Mr. Carter is on the library board too. She's very good. She will go out and research and get the best prices, and she just doesn't spend frivolously. She really researches her spending.
That's the most important. I mean, it really is. I mean, you have to, these nonprofit 501c3s just have to be mindful of that and what their boundaries are. And, the Vice Mayor and I you were there, and Mr. Carter was there a couple of years ago when the board over there wanted to, bring back a former director and add another assistant, and we said you don't have the money and you can't commit that ahead and then come back to each governing body and ask for that. You have to prepare for that ahead of time. And so fortunately everything has worked out and it's been done very, very well.
Well, I think a lot of that goes to who your director is.
Absolutely.
The quality of your director is what that goes to.
That's right.
Because I've been there when we didn't have good quality. So, anyway.
Leadership is key.
Absolutely.
Leadership is key.
It's key. It's key, especially with these 501Cs. It's key.
Absolutely.
You can't just add employees and add employees and add employees. You keep on adding without some kind of justification.
That's right.
Because it amounts to mismanagement, what it amounts to.
Right.
So I think the library does a fantastic job.
So the last item I have is, talking about 501c3s, is discussion about the animal shelter and the animal control. And so each of you and Alderman Alders out of town this week have a book that I comprised for you a few days ago, because there's so much misinformation right now, especially on Facebook, by ardent pet lovers and supporters of the Humane Society. And I don't have any issue for people that are passionate about animals and their welfare, but I'm going to talk about a few things in the next few minutes, and I'm going to ask each of the board's opinion on this. But we've crossed a line in the last few days, especially on social media. And so, about a year ago, before Mr. Owens came, one of the directors came to me, or the president of the board, and started talking about difficulties financially with the Humane Society. And so the Humane Society was chartered in 1985. I'm not sure the exact first year that the city contracted with them to do animal control, meaning to go out and pick up our animals in the city and take them down there. And so over time, it's kind of blurred into Animal Control / Humane Society. And so this board did not realize, and the county board didn't realize, that within the last year and a half or so, it became not just an animal shelter, but a no-kill shelter. And so the number of animals grew, and number of employees grew. The payroll, we've shared financials here. We talked about this in strategic planning. And, right now the perception on the street is we're not doing enough for the Humane Society. We're not doing enough financially. We're not doing anything to help this. I want to state clearly that this board, Mr. Owens, nobody has directed them not to do animal control or directed them to close the shelter. Those are decisions made by the board of directors, by the Humane Society. That's what they did. We were in this packet, and I gave you a table of contents. There's a letter in here that gave a 30-day notice on June 1st that they were not going to do animal control. The picking up of animals would come back to us, which was fine. We didn't argue with that. We said okay. So you also have a page that has a number of dates that Mr. Owens has met with leadership, either spoken on the phone, teleconference, met face to face with either a board of directors, or the director, current director of the Humane Society. It's 9 times since April 26, trying to resolve and negotiate a solution. And so I want to reiterate, we just spoke about the library board. I want to commend this board, everybody on this board. For 4 years, we have done consistently, we have fixed problems, and 3 of them have been 501c issues. I started out in 2018, the fall of 18, when the recycling board, which was in financial disarray, I had just been elected, and before actually installed, met with the county and came over, and we both agreed to privatize. And we haven't had one issue since with the recycling center. And we continued to pay Richardson to do that. And then we had an issue about 3 years ago. Alderman Hartman and Commissioner Britt came to me and said, we had issues with Main Street. And that went down like really to ground zero, and it rebuilt. And everybody can see that Main Street's thriving right now. That same issue with the library board. I had several members just walk off, you know. And I have no problem with that, because sometimes that's a reset. You can reset, and so it's 3 success stories. So this board knows how to help and assist, but it can't be one-sided. There has to be concessions on both sides. And so I'll let Mr. Owen speak in a few minutes with his conversations, but you have that, and then you have an acceptance letter from them, and then you have a letter going back from Mr. Owens giving the Humane Society 30 to 45 days. Let's relocate the animals. At no point has anybody on this board advocated for going down and killing those animals. But you would think on social media that we're going out there and saying, let's just slaughter them. And that's not the case. We have not advocated for, we've advocated for helping them relocate the animals. And as my understanding, since June 29th, or whenever the Humane Society made a post that they're closed, even though you can still call down there and adopt out, they're down to, as of yesterday, about 70 animals right now. So they've had success. They've had apparently funds come in the last few days. You have where they send in needs, and they also had sent a letter back before the budgeting process. We did the press release, but they also sent a letter, if I can get to it, where they had stated that they were going to be in cooperation with us no matter what happened. And
Somewhere towards the end, I'm not sure, but I think it.
But anyway, there's a highlighted portion in yellow where they state that their request of 120 was not a threat or an ultimatum, and that whatever happened, if we took over the duties, that they would work with us. And everything has become this firestorm over the last 7 days because they released, you know, their supporters on social media to tear into all of the elected officials. And I don't mind anybody that's going to get on Facebook and threaten to run somebody out of office. I could care less about that. I don't serve because of that. But when it gets to the last couple days and you cross a boundary and you start getting comments like, there's a comment that said, I would really like to know who made the comment, a bullet is cheaper. Bullets go both directions. Well, that's a threat. And then you get another one that said what they need to do is take all the county officials involved with this, line them up before a firing squad, and I'd love to be the first one on the squad. Lincoln County has a bunch of heartless, I can't say that, that's without censoring that. And so, you know, I mean, we had a board of director for the Humane Society stayed on Facebook that they thought that this board was unprofessional in regards to addressing this issue. No, what's unprofessional is the reality that some of these board of directors have encouraged this. And now you're getting to a dangerous point where people are getting threatened. And it takes one thing from being passionate to just being out of control. And so I also want to state that as far as the way we deal with our nonprofits, oh, here it is. So yeah, this sent, thank you, Vice Mayor. So this sent said, this is by no means a threat or ultimatum, but simply the financial facts. The Humane Society has survived as long as possible without a major increase, but can no longer sustain this monumental task. If the city would prefer to take over these duties, the Humane Society will simply exist as a volunteer nonprofit society and will gladly assist and support animal control agencies in our community. But that's not the effort that we're getting back. So I had Mr. Owens met with Director Beasley yesterday, and I said, you know, there has to be some type of statement from the Humane Society to calm down these efforts by these people. And, you know, so the statement basically, here it was, so the statement that came out last night was the Humane Society of Lincoln County is currently working with Mayor Newman, Mayor Wisnat, and City Administrator Kevin Owen to come together and discuss the future of animal care and control in this community. The welfare of the residents and animals are among the most important concerns for the leadership of all three entities. We share common interests to protect and develop this community as best as possible. The community's overwhelming support has been very appreciated, and we ask for continued enthusiasm as the city, the county, and Humane Society of Lincoln County work together for the betterment of this community. The goals at this moment are for improved communications and rebuilding a unified presence and resolve. Well, I don't think enthusiasm is the word to use for these people. They're making these threats that are out of control. And I want to state that the way we fund our nonprofits, that the third highest amount given is the Humane Society. We give the most to the library, and next is the industrial board, and next is $75,000. And so we still have in the budget. That's another rumor out there. We don't have any money in the budget. That's not true. We have money in the budget. And then 75 drops down. The next highest is like 25. And we have always been supportive financially over the years when they've come on incidental needs. Members of this board can attest. You know, we bought them a truck years ago. We've helped them out sometimes with certifications and other things. But it's just to a point that I don't mind passionate people, but it's all in the wrong direction. And Mr. Owens, I think you can state, and Mr. Owens has been very professional and has dealt with some of these passionate people. He has made phone calls back. He has met face to face. And when he's given them the facts, they have a different understanding. So, Mr. Owens, if you'll speak for a few minutes about, you know, the efforts you've made for us to get a resolution on this.
Yeah, the first thing I would like to say is that the mayor mentioned that a lot of the residents do not feel like we are properly funded. Most of the folks that I've spoken to, and I have had in the last week, I think 15 interactions or conversations with residents, 14 out of 15 were under the impression that we did not fund them at all. And I just want us just to put out correct information. The board did approve a budget with the 75,000 level funding. So we are continuing to fund the efforts, not necessarily the Humane Society. And we also have received official notice that they do not wish to continue doing services for us. So we are left as a municipality without any other options. I think on Tuesday, we had a group of people from the Humane Society to attend board's finance committee meeting, and they wanted to make a protest or make efforts or comments that they were they were upset that we were going ahead and we were posting for positions. But right now, due to notice, we have no other option but to look for alternatives to provide services to our citizens. So as far as administration and the municipality, we're looking forward to moving on and providing services to our citizens. If they choose not to be our provider, we'll look for other options. And that's what I want to provide and submit to the board.
So, thoughts?
Well, I've always got a comment.
Go
But
ahead.
it not very in depth. I've spent several hours looking at this. I would, if you don't, I came across this right here, and I would highly encourage, if the mayor might have it, I don't know, some board members, if you don't have it, you get this. There was a study done this year at another city and county combined. Now, they don't have the Humane Society, it's city, county combined. This study was done, the city that's involved in the study is twice as big as federal. County is a lot bigger than Lincoln County overall. This study was done fairly. It was done by CTAST and MTAST. That's your county, municipal, UT, that's your city working together. I would highly recommend, I got a hold of this one, I wrangled it out of city attorney. If you not got this, I would highly recommend you get it. And don't just read this, study it. If you'll get this and study in depth, the study that was done by city and a county entity together, and you look at the numbers, and then you begin to see, well, we don't have anywhere near the numbers that this group had. We've got 800 animals coming in. They had over 1,400. They're double on everything. The size of this city is double federal. And they managed to come up with a budget of $465,000 on a city and county double the size of federal, per se. Their average countywide, what they needed from the citizens countywide, whether it came from the city or whether it came from the county, wherever it came from, was $8 a quarter. That's what they needed. We're paying $10.57 right now from the city's part. Oh no, we're paying more than that. We're paying more than $10.57. Yeah, we give $75,000 all right enough. That's what comes out of our fund balance. But what does the city taxpayer pay? The city taxpayer pays more than $75,000 because we pay county taxes. Look at that 20%. When you look at that 20% of the citizens that lives within the city of Fayetteville, we pay county taxes also. So a portion of those county taxes, 20% per se, you could say is also the city taxpayer is not only paying the city taxes, they're paying a portion of the county taxes, which comes to about $87,500 in reality. So whatever we do in this situation, we need to repair this problem of one entity paying more than another entity. We at least need to be the same. That's what I'm saying. So, and when you look at this study, and this will go statewide. When you look at this study, 20% of the animals came from the city, 80% came from the county. That's going to pretty well hold true anywhere you go. So, but not only does this study have some in-depth information in it, it has got some funding mechanisms on different ways that you can fund fairly between city and county. And I think the city and county wants to try to do things fairly in this situation right here. I would think so. So to me, I took a look at this, spent a lot of time studying it, a lot of time. I would highly, highly recommend, since this came from not only MTAST, but MTAST and CTAST working together, city, county working together. There's a lot of good information on here we could take if we need to and make some things work really good for us. Because the study's done been done. I mean, we could have this group come in and do the same study here and apply it. They done got everything. They done got all the numbers. All they got to do is plug in our number of animals, plug in there a number of citizens, and plug in there a number of whatever, and we got to study. So I would highly recommend that you either get with MTAS or get with city attorney or city administrator might have this, because there's a lot of good guidelines in here can help us. And to me, and you know, I've looked at, I did not realize that the Humane Society has 12 employees, 8 full-time, 4 part-time. Our recreation department has 8. It's only got 8. And I got to write down what all they have to do, what all they have to maintain in all the different parks and all the different things. It went on and on and on and on. It's just amazing what all with 8 employees. And that's talking about the inside employees also. Now I took this out of the budget book, so that's all I had to go by. We got a city fire department. 20 full-time employees is what I took out of the budget book. 20 full-time employees operates a full-scale two different fire stations, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 168 hours a week with 20 employees. How on earth can you have 12 employees, 8 full-time and 4 part-time in this animal control? To me, it's just not adding up. The mayor made it very clear, I think, that all of this has got to do with management. It all comes down to directors, your directorship, your management, or whatever board you're working under. And I just didn't realize a lot of things till I got to studying this and got to looking at this and all. And I've not seen a lot of the comments that you're talking about. I've seen a few comments. Has it got out of hand? Yes, it's got out of hand. Is that this board's fault? No. It's not this board's fault. I've not heard any of our aldermen saying hardly anything. This is the first public comments I've made on it, period. Because I've just been waiting to see kind of where all this kind of goes. So I would just really ask and highly encourage, because we really need to work with the county on this. We don't need to go just us. If we have to make a change, I don't know if we're going to make a change or not, but we have to. We need to work together with the county because it will help both of us do it much cheaper if we have to. And I think this is really a good pattern to look at because of who put it together, city and county.
Mr. Owens, can you get a copy of this to everybody?
I'd highly encourage that. I think that would give us some good ideas. I think it would give us some sane ideas without emotions getting all caught up in this. And when emotions gets caught up in things, it's gone too far.
Well, that's correct, because the perception is we're not going to have any animal control and no Humane Society, which is not true. It's just, my feeling is the solution isn't going to be done on Facebook. It's not going to be done through TV stations or the emotional drama. It's going to be done sitting at a table and both sides having to compromise. And like I said, we're always here to assist and help. We've done it with 3 other 501c3s that are now doing very well. We can do it again. That's not the issue. So,
Mr. Mayor, may I make one comment with Vice Mayor Brian's comment? The county has been a partner in the especially last 6 weeks. We have probably talked maybe every day, at least for the last month, including this morning. Mayor Newman expressed yesterday that at their finance committee on Tuesday that they were treated even worse than we were on Tuesday. That several people got up and just made comments, and I think he's at the point that he's at his limit. And I think many of the other commissioners right now are pretty much at their limit. So we are working with the county. We talk every day, even this morning. So we are working with the county, and they do have some strong opinions as far as this as well.
I agree. I've had communication with one county commissioner. He's not kin to me. I don't have communications with the county commissioners kin to me on anything, period. But I've had one communication with one county commissioner that I got a lot of faith in. He's been there for years and years and years. And he's the same way. He wants us to work together, resolve this situation, and move on.
That's right.
And I think I'm all 100% for working with the county through this situation. I only brought up that funding just as a matter of not asking it to be, this particular funding be changed or trying to get them to do anything. I'm not trying to get anybody to do anything.
Right, correct.
I represent the taxpayers of the city of Fayetteville. That's who I got elected to represent. And that's who I'm going to represent through this process with this. But now, as far as the Humane Society goes, I get my dogs from there. I got a dog right now I got from there.
I got
I've
animals
got
from
more
there.
than one dog from the Humane Society.
Absolutely.
I've got, I don't know how many, but I have got through them, and it's not them $25 dogs either. It's them higher price where you get, and I gave $250 for her. She's worth more than that to me. So I'm an animal lover. I love animals. And I've had them all my life. I've had dogs. Never been a time when I can remember when I didn't have dogs on the farm or whatever. And I'm an animal lover. But quite frankly, I don't like being intimidated. And I don't like being bullied, and I don't like being threatened.
Well, when the lines are blurred, and that seems what has happened with the animal control versus the Humane Society, and those got melded together, and the money's being spent for the animal control for Humane Society. This board and the county commission, as far as I understand, hasn't been notified that those funds were being expended for the Humane Society. No one on this board, as a matter of fact, I supported them in various ways throughout the year. And when they had fundraisers before pandemic hit, there was muffins for mutts, etc., and casseroles, memorials, and such. Mm-hmm. And that's been taken care of at various times. On top of all of that, but I'm with Mr. Bryant. I don't take threats.
No, I don't need a threat. What happens is intimidation and threats. People think it might be doing some good, and we're going to force these typical Alderman county commissioners just want to blow up and say no. The ones that don't have the backbone and will cave in to things are just not right. And I think people needs to have their expression. I do. This is America.
I agree.
And if it's not my opinion, good, have it. I'm like the mayor. I'm all for that. But what happens is in situations like this, they hurt themselves more than help themselves because they begin to try to kind of intimidate you and everything. And some people don't intimidate. And you just kind of bow up and say, I got elected to do a certain thing, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I got elected to do, and go from there. I would also, if you don't mind, I would like for, if Mayor Neiman don't have this, I'd like for him to have a copy of this.
I'll make sure he's sent it.
Because I think if you and him could get together and our mayor and take a look at this and kind of a pattern, if we have to go this route, and I think this gives a good pattern, you could just about, the numbers and everything is through this whole process, you could just about divide it by two and say this is where we'd probably end up being with a group our size. And that's just me. That's some of my thoughts. But I don't like being. I don't like being put in a position where people would say that that I wouldn't love animals or whatever because I got 2 dogs and a cat. So
I agree with everything that's been said here this morning. I do have a question. Most people are asking me, what is the next step? Which what they released last night kind of contradicted everything that I'd heard up until last night. So, are they still planning to move out the end of this month? And if they do we have a plan for the animals? Because that's the biggest concern that I hear from people. They just want to know.
All right, Mr.
Can I
Allen.
address that? So yesterday when I met with the director, she said that they are planning to start packing as of Monday. They have approximately 70 animals right there in the facility. Her comments and no endorsement, she said by the time they finish, if there's any animals left, that they would take the responsibility of euthanizing. So those are her comments. No endorsing on whether she would do that or not, but she did say they are planning to be out of the building in the next couple of weeks. Now, in all transparency, she still would like to do a portion of services for the city and county. I don't think that's going to happen, but she would like to still do that, and part of her offer is to do a portion of it within. So that may be coming in the next couple of days that she will make that offer.
So,
Offer is in applying for the job position that we
No,
have?
she wants the Humane Society to continue as they've been doing.
how would they fund herself?
She wants to come back to the city as the relationship was before.
Okay.
So that may be
Is
coming.
that to get the funding from the, is that to get the funding from the
She
city?
wants a relationship that has been right before June 30th. And just informing you all, that's what she said that she would like to do if she was able to, but she realized it would be a hard task to get back in, but I do see that offer is coming before.
I hope that the statement you made a while ago gets out, because it's been told on social media that we're going to shoot the dogs
Yes.
as of the end of the month.
Right.
Well, at no
And
time
so-
has this board had
No.
behind-the-door meetings discussing anything with the animal control.
This is the only one
And
we've had.
especially about talking
Yeah.
about euthanizing animals.
Right, this is the only meeting we've had at all.
Correct.
Right?
That's correct.
We've not had
That's
any.
correct. And so there was a comment on Facebook last Saturday that said, run down and adopt these animals in July because they're all going to be killed July 30th. And my wife got on there and said that absolutely is not true. And that person did take the post down. But this is the wild, wild west of these things that are going back and forth. And, you know, that's why we're laying out today and going back to city and county. I think this is as unified as the city and county governments have been on this issue, that we're all lockstep in, that we'll help get to a solution. But you got to get the emotion out of it. You got to get back to the sense of, you know, even if we sat there and said, okay, we would give you the extra money, that gets you, what, another couple months? You got to fix the core problem at the core. You know, they have to get back to membership. I mean, there's in their charter, number 6, in their charter states, you must have members. They don't have membership right now. They've got to get back to memberships. They got to get back to a full board of directors. They've got to get back to the things that made them successful years ago. And I know that there's people in this community. We've seen it on Main Street. We've seen it on the library. There's people that will step up. And of all these ardent 300 or 400 people or 500 people on Facebook, I would ask them, go to that board, demand to be members. Say, how can we get back to a membership? How can we get back to a full board of directors? How can we get back to the fundraising and the grants and everything that we did they did in the past? That's got to be the portion. There's a slide in there that they provided last week that I was tipped off to, that's in the back, where you have about 14 pages that shows well, it goes from 2017 to now, but from the history, the city and county have always been just like a third, if that, of their financial model of their yearly budget. We've never been full. If we were funding it full, it wouldn't be a 501c3. It would be some joint effort, you know, something like that. So the answers are right there. It's right in front of you. It's just got to get to like now. And now that they've pared the animals down, it's the perfect time to hit the reset button and rebuild. So, Alderman Hartman, your thoughts?
Just a couple of questions. I'm like everybody on the board, you know, I'm an animal person right now. I do not currently have an animal, but I've had horses. I've had dogs and cats and rabbits and the whole deal because I had children, and they loved animals too. Another thing, I think the public, I've been getting a lot of calls and people talking to me out in public, is that the building that is provided to the Humane Society / animal shelter is provided, it's owned by the city and county. And they are not charged rent for this building. And the public was not aware of that, or the people that I have spoken with. They also state that they are a volunteer board. Well, they have 12 employees. So if you're a paid employee, you're really not a volunteer board. So that kind of confused a lot of people, and, you know, the thing that bothers me, and I come from a finance background, we have been given no statistics as long as I've been on the board as to how many animals has the animal control portion of this, how many have they picked up for the city, and how many do they pick up from the county? I mean, we know nothing about that. Have they picked up any? I'm sure they have, but we don't know how many. We cannot.
That question was asked earlier in the year at a finance meeting, and unfortunately it wasn't in a statistical form like you have in front of you. They have a book, you know, like we went on this date, blah, 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 but it wasn't logged in an entry format. But that question had been asked, and in the past, you know, at one point we had a point where there was a big
90-10.
Yeah, county to city, right? Yeah.
When they kept up with it at one point a few years ago, we was told, they was keeping up with it, that 90% county, 10% city, which makes sense. And I tell you what, now this study was 80-20 on this study, but that percentage of the city people was more than a percentage of the city people.
Now, the
here.
one difference, I don't know, during that time, they used to have drop pins. So we'd have a bunch dropped in from either the county or people in Alabama to come up and drop, or come up from Giles County or Franklin County. So they did take the drop pins away a few years ago, so that cut some of that down.
Yeah.
So it got down to how many calls are they running,
But,
basically.
you know, even common sense would tell, on dogs, for instance, we have a leash law. So you don't have a lot of dogs running around. We've got a leash law. County doesn't have a leash law. Dogs run there for cats, probably about the same percentage, you know. So I don't have that number. We try to get that number, like the mayor said they would give it last time. They kind of walked around the edges on it.
So there's software that are approved by the National Humane Society as well as the National Animal Control Association that's supposed to keep track where animals are coming from. If you collecting animals anywhere, and they're supposed to have track. Now the National Humane Society, all of their affiliations are supposed to carry one variety of the software. I'm not sure that the Humane Society of Lincoln County is doing that. I have not seen any evidence. As I have mentioned before, this is not my first rodeo with this particular subject. When I was in Birmingham, they did provide us a linkage that says that Jefferson County collected this percentage of animals and Birmingham did it. As a matter of fact, I still have some of those reports. So it is a reporting system that can provide the information that you're requesting. Just whenever we go forward, I will recommend that we get one of the varieties of it, and it's probably, if I'm correct, probably about 12 different versions. We can do something as small as what we need, or something as large as maybe would do for the statewide. So we can look at some type of software, but that is going to be something that we will probably need as we look ahead.
Do you remember kind of what the percentages was? Birmingham's a big town, of course, but I would imagine in Birmingham they would have had a pretty good percentage of that, as big as they are.
Birmingham and Jefferson County was not too much different than Fayetteville and Lincoln County.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the animals, because we were still, a big part of our battle was with the county before they came together, but the numbers were not too far different.
Well, you'd think that because Birmingham's a big town, so.
But I would just like to say, don't demonize me or any member of this board, maybe because animal is not our only passion. I mean, my passion is the elderly, and what bothers me is we give the animals 7 times the amount of money that we give the seniors in the city.
That's absolutely true.
And so, I mean, we're talking about people. We give the animals 7 times the amount of money. So, yeah, we hit a bump in the road, we're just terrible people. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of people have different passions.
Correct. Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, I guess about a month and a half ago, I had I think we all received the same email about a guy emailed first that started the storm, I guess, but we talked for a long time on the phone, and he was telling me he didn't know any of this stuff was going on, but He was a volunteer, and he didn't realize how many employees they had out there. He said, but they have numerous of volunteers that come in and try to volunteer. He said he was on a schedule. It took him a while once he put his name down for them to actually call him to be a volunteer. But he said they have numerous of volunteers who would love to volunteer, but they have no idea how many full-time employees they had. And especially the schools, kids at their birthdays, a lot of people don't realize they get a lot of dog food and cat food dropped off their kids request that for their birthday instead of going out shopping or getting a gift or something. They said, I'd like to take some food to down on myself.
Well, see, that's another thing, you bring up another good point. I mean, part of, they could utilize our gas by purchasing gas from us, from the city station, just like every other entity does. And they don't. They can go directly to the food companies and get grants. My mom worked with Police Officer Rodriguez doing a form recently for the K-9 we have. It doesn't take like 30 minutes. Some of these things are just simple, small tasks.
It was a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I guess the food that they were getting, and I don't know if all y'all, when we first, I think we asked Mr. Owens to get us a report from, wanting to see their banking statements for it. First they were doing like off of Word, just somebody printed up and stuff. Then we finally got a good itemized one, but if everybody had an opportunity to read through there is a lot of wasteful spending. It's just on a lot of silly stuff. It all adds up. But I think we said it a while ago, leadership is key, and there's a lot of wasteful spending but I don't, I have animals. I got cats and a dog. I mean, yeah. So I think we all love animals. There's no doubt about that, but I think we all just...
I believe the city garage is at their disposal as well, correct?
They are, isn't that right, Dan? City garage.
City garage is at their disposal as well?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they used to work on that old truck they had all the time, never could fix it. And that's the reason we bought the new truck for them. We finally just threw our hands up and said, we'll buy you a truck.
Right.
The city alone, not the city and county, but the city, we just buy you a truck. In 2005 model, because the one they had, we couldn't fix it, so that goes back a while, but it's not been no time since they asked for some help on some electrical work or something else out there, and we agreed to do our part of it, so there's the deal.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you have a contract, we really need a new contract with them. But in that contract, the protocols were in there. If it's less than 1,000, they took care of it. We even helped them on that, though. And if it's more than that, they get 3 quotes, come to finance. I mean, all the protocols are in place. Everything's in place for what we've been doing over the years. So, well, thank you, everybody, for the comments. I just want to set this record straight from our side. You can't win a fight on Facebook. So, Mr. Owens and I will keep working on this issue and hopefully have a resolution very soon. So, unless anybody else has anything else for the work session, we're going to have we're going to have an executive session with some lawyers came down from Nashville over the topic. So we'll adjourn this meeting and take about a 10-minute break. Come back for executive session. Thank you.